What's going on, you guys? So, Gervonta Davis, let's just get into it, man. Obviously, this guy has been under a lot of scrutiny ever since this whole Jake Paul fight was announced, right? And the reason being is because pretty much the story of Tank's career, there's always fights that are left on the table. In this case, it was the Lamont Roach rematch, a fight in which I honestly thought he lost very convincingly. And that's not even including the knockdown. I thought Lamont Roach won this fight. I guess you could say the best score really would be 8-4. And that's not even including the knockdown, right? That's how I had the fight scored. And I'm sure a lot of other people out there had the fight, around that for Lamont Roach. Tank was very fortunate to come out that fight with a draw. But nonetheless, this fight with Jake Paul is announced, and lots of people have been coming at Tank for this decision, right? It's a weak decision. It's a cowardly decision. And it just goes to show what type of character Gervonta Davis has. But he's taken to Twitter today after announcing his retirement on Twitter as well. But he had this to say, man. Let me just get straight to it. Let me pull this up for you guys. So he goes on Twitter and says, boxing definitely did a turn. It went from this side to that side. And this shit has no loyalty, so why would I care? I move accordingly. Boxing is dead. And then you had the famous Ray Jackson, the biggest troll on Twitter as far as boxing goes. He says, all you got to do is fight Shakur. And I actually agree with this guy, right? Now, I understand that he needs to run it back with Lamont Roach, and that's because really he lost, right? And it's still gonna be a big fight if Tank were to get in the ring with Shakur Stevenson right now, but there's always that question mark looming of, dude, you didn't even really beat Lamont Roach. What makes you think you can handle a Shakur Stevenson, right? It just kind of kills the buzz around that fight a little bit, but nonetheless, I understand where Ray Jackson is coming from in this case. And he's being completely honest. And I agree with this. But Tank Davis doesn't like that. And he goes, LOL, that's how I know it's hate and jealousy. Because you're not even telling me to fight my rematch. Telling me to fight someone else when you got hurt and more shit in the fight. But y'all deriding his big bro now. Where was this energy 2 to 3 fights again? You a real lame, y'all are. And I don't know if there's a lot of typos here with Gervonta Tank Davis's tweet, but I mean, it seems to me that this dude doesn't know how to actually write a sentence. Half the time, you don't even understand what he's talking about in these tweets, and it's not even him trying to be subliminal. I just genuinely think he doesn't know how to actually tweet. But this, caught Shakur Stevenson's attention, and he goes, "You so lame, it's getting out of hand now. And on my kid, I wasn't hurt, but you wobbled several times in your last fight, boy," or goofball. Which I agree with. I mean, if you're going to be completely honest about that fight, there was a couple moments where Gervonta Tank Davis was definitely rocked. And the right hand that, wobbled him back, that didn't necessarily, to me, seem like he was hurt. But there was a moment, I believe, in the 7th or 8th round before that, where he hit Tank with a right hand as Tank was trying to come inside, and you could see him take a few steps back, and then Lamont came in clubbing, and Tank clinched. There was a couple times in that fight where I actually thought he, actually hurt Tank Davis, but I think Tank Davis, he does have a good chin. He has shown himself to be durable throughout the years. But also, I think he has a really good poker face. I mean, if you do hurt him, I don't think you're really going to know if you hurt him. But nonetheless, Tank Davis replies back. He says, "How much you making a fight, Tio? Like I said, you was hurt, and I know. That's why you in my mentions right now. I know what I did to you when we sparred, and you know how you feel. If I said I would give you a payday, but I'm turning my back. Get it out the mud, pussy." Now, this is probably one of the most cowardly tweets you could actually say. And again, like I said, it's one of those tweets where it doesn't even make sense. Why is he bringing up Teofimo Lopez, how much he's making? Why does it go back to how much money he's making? It don't matter how much money you make, right? In the case for Tank Davis, you could make 50 million, 100 million. Your next fight, you're still a coward. You're not running it back with Lamont Roach. You're scared to fight a Shakur Stevenson. You're scared to fight a Devin Haney. Or you were scared to fight a Lomachenko, a Teofimo Lopez. How come you didn't get in the ring with Teofimo Lopez when he was undisputed? How come you never got in the ring with Gary Russell or Tevin Farmer, for that matter? There's so many fights that have just been left on the table for Tank Davis, right? But let's continue. Shakur Stevenson goes, "That's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with your soft ass. You rather pop to me on social media than get in the fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz." Tank then goes, "The people you got on your chest so bad, you talking like you a killer, forgetting you the one that runs, bitch. I'll bring the fight to you. This N-word, a made-up character. Blessings upon you, clown ass." We'll just say ninja. "Wanna be Kevin Gates." I really don't know what to say, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I think Shakur Stevenson, the amount of times he's had Tank Davis fans, come at him for mentioning Tank Davis's name as if, he's clout chasing Tank Davis. No, it just happens to be that this dude was given a belt in his weight class. And let's not get it twisted. Gervonta Tank Davis is a star in the sport. But you have a belt and you have a name and you're claiming to be the best. Why wouldn't I want to fight you, dummy? You know what I mean? That doesn't even make sense. But Shakur then says, "And I be chilling on this pussy ass ninja. I could have been popping it, but I've been mad respectful. Integrity means more to me than that money shit he talking. But ninjas ain't ready for that convo." And I gotta agree. I mean, Shakur Stevenson has been, pretty respectful over the past couple years. Anytime Gervonta's name is mentioned, he's always believed that this fight is gonna happen. He always gives Gervonta Davis his props as a fighter. He acknowledges that Gervonta Tank Davis is a very skilled fighter and he's elite, right? But then Gervonta Davis comes back and says, "They trying to cash you out, fam. What you not realizing? Nobody wants to see you fight. You boring in the ring and you boring outside the ring. A big ass gap. The pushing the narrative that I'm scared of you when you and me know that is not true. It's nobody wants to see you fight. They loses money when you fight. Your own daughter said you almost got knocked out." Laughing or crying emoji. Tank is such a goofball. Shakur replies back, "Yeah, I'm done, gang. You got it." Laughing emoji. "Man's bragging about my daughter saying what she said. Tank, I wish you nothing but the best for your career and family. I never had no hatred for you. It was all business. But I'm better than you at boxing, and you know it. I'm satisfied with that." And I gotta, again, agree. Right? If you're gonna be completely honest and not a fanboy, for me, I've already been knowing that Shakur Stevenson is a stylistic nightmare for a guy like Gervonta Davis. But for a lot of people, this got exposed when he got in the ring with Lamont Roach. That Gervonta Davis is, in my opinion, overrated. He's not what everybody thinks he is, which is a straight-up killer in the ring that possesses just amazing boxing IQ, and all the abilities that he does have. I think the biggest thing that separates him from a Shakur Stevenson is the mental. Whether that's mentality, Shakur Stevenson wants to be the best, and he's willing to fight the best. Yes, I will say, that he hasn't had the opportunities to get in the ring with some of these guys. But you can clearly see that Shakur Stevenson is a hungry young champion, and he's wanting to prove himself. He surrounds himself around other champions like Terrence Crawford, He wants to be the best he can be. And I can't say the same for Gervonta Davis at all. I feel like his motives for fighting, why am I doing this? Things that he may ask himself why he's doing what he does. It's not because he wants to prove he's the best. It's because he wants to, cash out and make as much money as I can. And I guess you gotta say at the end of the day, you're making money. Oh, well, but guess what? I don't care how much Tank Davis makes. I really don't. I want to see him fight the best fighters in the division. And that's what the essence of boxing is. To fight the best. Who is the best in each weight class? Right? There's a champion for a reason. But Shakur Stevenson goes, oh yeah, for future references, don't ask me about that little girl no more. This go for all reporters and interviews. I don't want to hear that shit no more. She told y'all she will never fight me, so I'm officially moving on. Gervonta comes back and says, you're not, and just how you say all that buddy shit, I know that's what you want. Shake up after the fight and shit, right? Fam, fuck you. Shakur Stevenson says, stay blessed, little sis. And that was it. And then from what I've seen, Gervonta Davis has actually deactivated his Twitter account. Just goes to show how much of a coward Gervonta Tank Davis is. And that may seem like I'm being really harsh. And you got to give these guys somewhat respect because they're in the combat, they're in a combat sport. This is the hurt business. These guys are risking their lives every time they get in the ring. But for me to call this guy a coward, I feel like it's reasonable because he's picked very selective opponents throughout his career. He hasn't stepped in the ring with anybody. And honestly, from the outside looking in on this situation, he looks like a coward. I don't know what else to say. The dude is afraid of every elite fighter in the division. What would you say to that? How would you characterize what he's doing? Just cowardly behavior. Woman behavior. Lots of female energy. Anytime any elite fighter gets brought up to Tank Davis in an interview, he gets upset, visibly upset, starts acting like a girl. Man, I'm actually happy that Gervonta Tank Davis is going to be out of the sport and that he's going to be retired because I've been sick of Tank Davis for years. Just for the fact that he's unwilling to fight the best fighters. And I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, this was Floyd's fault. No, it's not. Floyd actually fought the best. When has Gervonta Davis fought anybody that has been considered the best? Never. Never. But I think it also goes to show that Gervonta Davis was a hand-picked, manufactured star. And I've seen Paulie Malignaggi touch on this, and I happen to agree with his take on this. For some reason, I don't know what it is or what it was, that got somebody like a Floyd Mayweather to pick Tank Davis to be the next superstar. But obviously, being behind a promoter like Floyd Mayweather, who is a legend in the sport, has a great mouthpiece and the ability to, talk the talk. But also his accolades, just goes to show that he was able to walk it as well. But when you have a guy like Floyd Mayweather boosting your profile, promoting you like he did, it makes it easy for a guy like Tank Davis who can barely even talk, who sounds stupid every time he opens his mouth or hops on Twitter. It makes it easy for, him to become a superstar. Even though he's really done nothing to really deserve that superstardom, role in the sport. So I agree with what Paulie Malignaggi says, but I will be happy the moment that this dude actually does retire, because I think he's done nothing but hurt the sport. And it's a shame that you have a 30-year-old champion who really is prospect level, who's never fought anybody elite, and he's talking about retirement, and he's cashing in on a circus fight with Jake Paul, a fight that nobody asked for, and that usually when you see these type of fights, it's at the later half of an actual legend's career. In this case, Gervonta Davis is in the prime of his career, and he's never fought anybody elite. And he's talking about retirement. Yeah, I'm going to be happy when he just walks away from the sport and we all forget about him. And while we're at it, they should just strip the belt from him. But let me know what you guys think, man, about this whole situation. Are you guys going to be happy that Gervonta Davis is retiring? And does this, in your guys' eyes, eliminate all possibility of a Gervonta Davis-Shakur Stevenson fight? Let me know. Hate, like, comment, subscribe.